Hello everybody and welcome back to Blanche Case Fitness. It's Tuesday and you know what that means? It's time for Perpetual Motion, the class where we never stop moving, and it's the first day to June. Welcome to June. Woo! My favorite month of the year. It's my birthday month, so that's why. Hello everybody. We have made it through May and are now in the 6th month of the year, and I don't know how we got here. I don't know how it is this far along in the year, and also how it's not farther along in the year. It's just, time is so weird. Time is always so weird, and it's particularly weird right now. But we're here, and it's good to see you all. I know that I've had reports from lots of folks that last week, for many of us, for some reason, was just a really hard week, mentally and emotionally. So if you are coming off the back of a harder week, I feel ya. A lot of people in our community feel ya, and I hope that today is kicking off a little bit more effectively. Effectively? That's not the word I meant. I hope that today is better, and I hope that this week is better, and I hope that class can help. And yeah, it was a weird week for me, absolutely, but I'm feeling a little bit more equilibrium today, which is good. You can tell it was a bad week for me last week because I totally forgot to upload last week's VODs. So I'm definitely going to be getting those up at some point this week. And I'm trying to figure out some scheduling things because I had totally forgotten that I am going to be out of town Friday through Sunday in a place where unless something is drastically changed, I will not have any internet access. So if something has drastically changed, cool, no worries. We'll just have class at our usual times. Otherwise, I will probably move Functional Home Fitness to Thursday rather than Friday this week, and I'm not sure what I will do about weekend kickoff. I might try to pre-record something and get it up on YouTube, and then yeah, I don't know. At the very least, that way we would have a VOD, you know. Because like, I'd like you to have a new class, and that's something I've been thinking about, like trying to get better about, you know, if I'm going to be on vacation or something like that, like having new content, even if it's not, you know, if we're not able to do a live class, but at the very least having, you know, a new video go up that is a class that you can take. So it's a different, you know, you're not always shunted back to the VODs, although the VODs are there for a reason, so who knows. Anyway, point being that there actually will probably be some wiggling around of the schedule this week, and I will try and keep you posted on what that ends up looking like, because I don't know exactly how that's going to look. And actually, I may, just while I'm thinking about it, because that tends to be, for some reason, I tend to think of things when I'm in the middle of class now, which is just not a great time to think of things and to try and send messages, but you know, so it goes. Internet yet. Or still, no. Okay, there we go. Question asked, question will be answered, and based on that answer, I can figure out my stuff. I am glowing, huh? Really? That, I would assume, is because something is, I don't look glowy. Huh. I don't look glowy in my VOD. I'm afraid to wipe my finger over the camera. It's totally gonna just, Is that better? It looked like no change to me, so hopefully that's better. But anyway, If this is your first time here on Tuesdays, welcome. It's Perpetual Motion, the class where we never stop moving, also known as the half marathon of HIIT classes. So the difference between today's class and my other body weight focused classes is that from the time that we start the warm-up to the very end of the final timer in class, we do not stop moving that entire time. The times when we would usually be between workout timers and just standing around and drinking water, we instead go into an active rest exercise. I use cross jacks, which I will demonstrate when it becomes relevant. But yes, so half marathon because the goal is to not stop moving for the entire hour. So it brings a new side of energy conservation into your class. And you also need to get very good at drinking water while moving, which if you've ever done a road race is something you already know how to do. But I do recommend not using glass for your water bottle if you can avoid it, just because less chance of clanking your teeth against it, and making sure that your water is set somewhere within arm's reach of a standing position so that you're not trying to interrupt the movement to, lean over and pick something up off the ground. All right, but there we go. Well, I'm sorry I removed it, but it's okay. I'm very pale, so it'll probably happen again. All right, let's do our pre-class checklist, my friends. You got your water in whatever vessel you're using. Again, make sure it is in arm's reach of a standing position. Can't put it back deliberately. You've got your comfy clothes, whatever that means to you. You've got your mat or mat-sized space on the floor. And if you use a fitness wearable, let's go ahead and turn them on right now to high-intensity interval training. If you don't, that's totally fine. It's not a required tool. It's not even necessarily a recommended tool. It's just a possible tool. All right. And yeah, let's get started. Ooh, our big pre-class yawn out of the way. I don't know why, friends. It's just, sometimes you just yawn while you're getting prepped. Ooh, interesting. Okay, so where I'm going to be over the weekend may actually have internet. So all of that stuff that I said about shifting scheduling may not be relevant. How do you think it would hold up to me streaming my class? All right, well, we'll find out. But in the meanwhile, let's do our warm-up. So everybody settling in, getting ready, recognizing that once we start this warm-up, we are going to be moving for the rest of class. So keep that in mind. Make sure that you are not kicking off the warm-up by trying to go, hell for leather 100%. We talk about that a lot anyway. So, get those yawns out. And then I'll get the right timer selected, and then on your mats, on your backs, 1 foot cross over the opposite knee, and as soon as that horn goes off, we begin with hip rocks and bridges. Yeah, so here we are, a new month, new approaches, new goals, and it is very nice to come out of a harder week and to feel that sort of opening up of your brain again. So again, if you did have a hard week last week, I hope that you are also having that experience. And if you've still been struggling with it, I'm glad that you're here, because exercise can absolutely help. I made it outside for a walk this morning, which I hadn't done in a number of days, and that really helped sort of kickstart my day really nicely. And then, so my Slack server at work, we have a channel called Movement where we can sort of talk about like what kinds of exercise we're doing, you know, cheer each other on and stuff. And I just initiated today something that had been done at a previous place that I worked that I really enjoyed, which was in a specific channel on the chat server. If somebody tagged the entire channel, then everybody, as soon as you saw it, needed to just get up and you know, do some reps of something. It was usually push-ups, but obviously you could do any sort of abdominal exercises, or you know, test out a plank or something like that. And I really loved that. It was just a fun sort of way for us all to remind each other to get up out of our chairs, to do a little moving. And so I kicked it off today just once, just to start getting people used to the idea. And I was excited too, because when I'm in class, I opted for push-ups, and when I'm in class, I generally will do push-ups from the knees, because it's easier for me to maintain the form of that type of push-up while I am also teaching and talking the whole time. But I wanted to do something that would feel a little more challenging for me, so I did full plank push-ups the whole time, and I was very excited at how good they felt form-wise, how strong I felt in them, and it was just really nice to test that out and be like, oh yeah, that's totally, I've got that. I do actually have that. That's really awesome. So that was really fun to kick off and just be like, yeah, you know what? Sometimes it's good to just get up out of your chair, and you don't have to do a ton. I generally will do 10 reps of whatever thing I am working on. So, you know, it's not like 10 reps is going to take you, you know, 10, maybe 20 seconds, something like that. Like, it's not going to take a ton of time out of your day. And it's just a good reminder that, yeah, we want to get up. Yeah, we want to move around. We want to actually not just leave ourselves glued to our workstations all day. And I was pleased. So looking forward to doing that a little more, and just, you know, helping to inspire everybody else, and also just helping to keep myself inspired as well, and reminding myself that, yeah, you know what, if you're feeling a little foggy brain-wise, or feeling a little stuck, or a little tired, you know, just getting up and doing a quick set of something is a really nice way to just kickstart some energy. And it's a really useful tool. I've been thinking about trying to build out a Discord server for this channel. And if I ever do that, I will definitely put a push-ups channel in there, so we can do channel tags like that, and just help to remind people through the day to get up out of your chair and just do quick little bite-sized exercises. And it's such a nice starting place too. You know, one of the things that can be really hard with exercise is we convince ourselves that we don't have enough time for it. We don't have enough time to devote to an hour-long class. And, you know, there's a much larger sort of societal conversation that could take place around the ways in which we devalue spending time on caring for our own health and well-being. But putting that aside, just as a way to deprogram that thought process and deprogram our brains from automatically being like, oh, well, I don't have the time to work out. I would have to put, you know, X amount of time in, and that's too much. Again, we talked about this a few weeks ago, I think. In terms of, you know, the baseline amount of exercise that is going to get you, you know, the health benefits, the long-term ongoing health benefits, that can be achieved with 20 minutes a day of walking. And if you're doing that, then that's great. And sometimes even 20 minutes can feel like too much, which is why, like, we don't have to, we can work up to these things, you know? We do not have to immediately, you know, make all of this space for exercise. Start with just something as simple as every once in a while, ping yourself and be like, okay, it's time to do 10 push-ups. It's time to do 20 flying scarlets. You know, it's time to do 30-second planks or something like that. And just start there and just get yourself used to doing something, you know? And then as you're able to sort of settle into that, and then, you know, if you start hitting a place where you're like, okay, now I would really like to, I think I would like to devote a little more time to this overall, then you can start maybe more deliberately, maybe being like, okay, I'm going to take 16 minutes out of my day and do the warm-up, you know, and just do that. Just do this warm-up sequence and focus on that. And then maybe you're like, all right, now I'm gonna try to regularly attend one live class a week, or take one class VOD per week or something like that. And so we build up towards adding more movement, adding more exercise into our schedules without sort of the issue that we come up against so frequently, which is we try to jump to the top, we try to jump to the finish line, to the summit of the mountain, and be like, okay, well, I want to be working out 5 days a week, so I'm just going to start there. And then, you know, for many of us, we then fall away from it because that is a really intense thing to kick off cold turkey. And then we feel frustrated, we get demoralized because we weren't able to, in our minds, reach this goal that we had. And that makes it harder to return back and try it again at a later point. So, you know, there are some people who really do have the capacity to cold turkey start or stop things, but I just don't think it's that many of us in the grand scheme of things. And I think that we have convinced ourselves that that's the way we're supposed to be able to do things. It's this mentality of like, if I am not immediately good at this thing, it's not worth doing. And that's bullshit, you know? Again, perfect is the enemy of good. And if we just refuse to do things because we aren't immediately good at them, then we are going to be missing out on so many wonderful experiences and opportunities throughout our lives. So yeah, I want to challenge everyone to try and deprogram the insistence that if you're not immediately good at something, that it is not worth doing, or if you're not able to immediately achieve and stick with a particular goal, then you're never going to be able to achieve it, okay? And I just want you to start really talking to yourselves and really trying to take a step back and say, no, I have so much life to reach these goals, but if I never start a thing, or if I don't start something unless I'm already good at it, which is kind of ridiculous, because even the things we have natural talent for, we are not immediately good at, okay? And if the only things I am willing to do are the things that I am immediately good and talented at, then I'm not going to be able to do a whole hell of a lot in my life. So yeah, take that from a homework perspective, take that thought, and think about something that you've maybe been wanting to do for a while. Maybe you've tried it at some point, but weren't immediately good at it and felt a little, maybe you felt a little demoralized and decided to just put it away. I want you to try and get that thing back out of storage and say, all right, how can I better structure my goals around this so that I am not setting myself up for failure and not falling into the very common trap of, well, I wasn't immediately good, therefore it's not worth doing, okay? So, yeah, think about what might make sense for you to tackle along that front, this week, this month, who knows? And, just think about that and try to be really deliberate about it. And God, I can't think of the word I'm trying to think of, but yeah, it's important for us to be kind to ourselves, kind and supportive to ourselves, because frankly, bullying is obviously a huge problem in many different cultures, but I don't think that any bully is as effective as the bullying we do to ourselves. And it's one of my goals to help people and to help myself break through that tendency to be so cruel to ourselves when we are not immediately successful. All right, this is our last warm-up exercise, and once that horn goes off, remember you are not stopping movement. You are instead going immediately into our active rest exercise, which is cross jacks. So just be prepared that no matter where you are in the exercise, you are now standing up and doing cross jacks. So very similar to our jumping jacks. Jump the feet out and the arms come out at waist height. Jump the feet in, one foot crossed in front of the other, one hand crossed on top of the other, and then repeat and back and forth, okay? And don't stop just because I stop. I get to do that. I'm the teacher, so I get to do that. Alrighty. Let's drink some water. Woo. All right, so this is our first experience with that active rest exercise. So you want to emphasize the rest in the active rest. I know it seems counterintuitive, but you want to really bring your heart rate down, bring your breath down, and that's what you want to focus on. You truly want this to be as much like a rest as possible, okay? Except that you're moving the whole time. And what we are going to go into are a bunch of perpetual motion sets. So, first one is going to be 45-second work intervals, okay? So, we'll have 3 exercises. We'll do one for 45 seconds, then the horn will go. We'll go immediately into the second, then immediately into third, and then circle back around and start again. And our 3 exercises, we're going to have wide squat with a knee turn. So from this nice wide squat, similar to the warm-up exercise, holding our arms out to the sides. And then I'm going to turn one knee in, bring that same arm to meet the other arm. We're in this double bent leg lunge, back to center, and to the other side. Okay, we just go back and forth. Second exercise is TikToks. Pretty standard at this point. From our pike position, arms straight, hands together to one side of the knees, out just far enough to bring them across, and up, out, and up, out, and up, etc. And then push-ups. Push-ups are our last exercise. So whichever version, wall, incline off of furniture, knee, plank, half wave, full wave, just making sure your shoulders are directly over your wrists and your elbows are staying nice and glued to your sides through the whole movement. Just to really emphasize the tricep work, okay? So let's get going. So you're still doing cross jacks. As soon as you hear that horn go off, we will begin our first exercise. So immediately down in that wide squat and then moving, okay? And that's the biggest thing in our perpetual motion class, is making sure that we are minimizing the amount of time between when moving from the exercise we are currently doing to the exercise we need to start doing, okay? That is how we achieve the bare minimum component of starting on time. It's not quite the same as what we need to do for our tabatas, because they start from a full rest position, and nothing in today's class does that. You are always starting from movement. So stopping on time does not mean a full stop of the exercise. It means keep doing the exercise until you hear the horn, and then, only then, start moving to the next exercise, okay? Like that. Also keeping in mind that I am not always moving as efficiently as possible from one exercise to the other, because I have an added criteria where I need to be facing the camera. So my goals are slightly different. So don't automatically copy what I'm doing. Just find whatever is the most efficient way for you to get from one exercise to the other. All right, we're in our second run, second time through. And all of these exercises in this first round, we're never going to be in too different of a position, no matter where we are in the continuum of the exercise. So it makes that transition a lot easier, because we don't need to worry about, okay, well, I could be full standing or I could be lying entirely on my stomach, and that's going to change how I get to the next exercise. These exercises are all pretty similar in terms of just the spectrum of positions. So you can be pretty confident that you will not be in a wildly unexpected place when that horn goes off and you need to start moving to the next exercise. But it's something to keep in mind. As we go through class, if we hit exercises like, say, a turtle wave, where I could be anywhere from rolled up on my shoulders with my feet in the air to all the way down on my stomach at the bottom of a wave push-up, and I need to know how to get to the next exercise from either of those points or anything in between, okay? And that's one of the things that we train for, is just keeping that mindfulness and being aware of, okay, what is the next exercise? What is the starting position I need to hit for that next exercise? And what is going to be the most efficient way for me to get there, depending on where I am when the horn goes off. Alrighty? All right. Woo! Oh, man, it is such spring weather here in Colorado. I tell you, absolutely incredible. It is cloudy outside. It definitely rained a little bit earlier, and I'm just loving all of this nice spring weather and all of this rainfall. It's so important. It is so important. Anyone who lives in or has lived in a place that has experienced drought will never ever complain about the rain, because, oh boy, it is just so important, you know, both from a drinking water perspective and also just from keeping our environment safe from wildfires, for example, which obviously last year was a huge problem in Colorado. Oh my gosh, just absolutely horrifying to deal with that. So I will never ever complain about the weather being gray and rainy. And we have gotten some sun. Even right now, there is definitely sun coming from somewhere. And we had some yesterday afternoon, and this morning was actually quite sunny. So it's not all gray weather right now, but I do not mind the rain at all. I am just very happy to be getting that water. All right, immediately into those cross jacks, yeah? So no pausing, no standing around. You are in your cross jacks. Woo! All right, and hopefully drinking water too. If you've run like any type of road race, then you are used to trying to drink water while maintaining your movement. But that's a skill. And if you are new to class and haven't had that experience before, be easy on yourself. And, you know, because obviously when we're breathing heavily and trying to drink, well, it just provides all sorts of hilarious opportunities for us to swallow water down the wrong pipe. So something to work towards if you have not had to develop that skill yet, or something to get out of storage if you have. All right, now we're gonna do a 30-second set. Still 3 exercises. First one, it's just gonna be front plank from the elbows, shoulders directly over elbows. So you have that nice perpendicular line between the upper arms and the floor. And then exercises 2 and 3 are just the first and second side of the same thing. Lunge to a knee pull. So we take that nice deep lunge, arms extended in front, and then we stand up to that front leg, pull the elbows in and behind us, pull the knee up, and then back to that position, and over and over again. And we do side 1, and then we do side 2. So yeah, front plank, and then first side of lunge to the knee pull, and then second side of lunge to the knee pull. So everybody ready? And this is going to be one where you have to really change the plane that you're in. You're going from a standing position to being all the way down on the floor. So keeping that in mind in terms of transition. Transitions always slow down a bit when we are making big shifts in orientation. So just something for us to keep in mind. There we go. Sometimes it's honestly easier than we think it's going to be, but always allow for that quick learning curve in your first set, you know? And then as we go through sets 2 and 3, really try to cut down on the amount of time that it takes you to get from one to the other. All right, our core is really engaged on this one. Helps to keep our balance steady, helps to pull that knee up, and helps to stabilize us as we then go back to the lunge position. So always make sure that you are paying attention to that core engagement, even or possibly especially for exercises that aren't quote unquote core exercises. Basically everything, I know you've heard me say this, Basically everything is going to benefit from a strong core, from an activated core, okay? So there are really few to no things out there that you might be doing that will be better off without core engagement. I can't think of any off the top of my head, quite frankly. So yeah, just always keeping that in mind. It is always something I want you to focus some attention on, no matter what the exercise is, because that's just stabilizing you. It's giving you a nice center line to return to, and oh man, it's just gonna make everything so much easier, I promise. So that's why we do so much core work, yeah? So that we can really have that base. That's a crucial component of our foundation. Our foundation is form. That's the biggest part of our foundation. And having a strong core that engages in each of these exercises is really going to help stabilize your form and keep you in it the whole time, okay? Because that's the other component, yeah? Is we don't just start out with a good form. We have to be able to maintain the good form throughout the entire set. So it doesn't stop with just the first couple of reps. You gotta still be doing the exercise correctly, even here, even on our very last set in this timer. You still need to be doing the exercise correctly. So form is always critical, and core is going to go a long way towards helping you to maintain it. And back to cross jacks. Woo! Good job, everybody. Wow. How you feeling? How you feeling? I'm feeling pretty good. Oh my goodness. I just booked tickets to my first larger event in well over a year, almost a year and a half at this point, which is a wedding. It will be about a year and a half by the time I'm at the wedding, because the last big event that I went to, big being more than 20 people, none of whom I know, or few of whom I know. The last big event for me was PAC South last year. And it's one of those things definitely that you look back on and you're like, I am so lucky, because we had no idea what was already here, and we just weren't talking about it. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. My first time on a plane, first time at a large event. Good gosh. All right, back to 45 seconds. We're gonna do first and second exercises. Again, our first and second sides. It's gonna be side plank, so shoulder directly over elbow. Pull those hips up into the air. Other arm reaching straight up and hold. And then second exercise is the other side. And then third exercise is going to be turtle jumps. So rocking up under the shoulders, then up directly onto the feet. If you need a little help, you can push yourself up with a hand and then jump and repeat, okay? So side plank 1, side plank 2, and turtle jumps. And 45 seconds again, so slightly longer sets. Good times, my friends. So remember all the visualization work that goes really well with these side planks. So visualizing that there's a thread attached to my hip and pulling all the way up to the ceiling. And that's going to help keep my hips from starting to drift down towards the floor. You want to do the same with the hand that's reaching up, and that's going to help you stop you from sinking into that shoulder, because you really want to be pushing up from that shoulder, okay? You want the shoulder fully engaged, fully stabilized, and if you feel the distance between the shoulder and your ear start to shorten, then it's time to re-engage it and really push away from the floor, okay? So, and that can be really hard if you haven't done a lot of shoulder strengthening work yet, which is something that we talk about a lot in this class, partially because my big chronic pain area is shoulder based, and also just because our shoulders are our most unstable joint, with good reason, because they are designed to have this huge range of motion, which is really awesome and important, but they also sometimes need that strength and stability, and if we don't put that training work into strengthening and stabilizing them, then we definitely open ourselves up to injury, and that's, you know, why shoulder injuries are really common. So yeah, so I talk a lot about that. My two sort of go-to areas to really hammer home on are core and shoulders. And they're both such important areas for very different reasons, but the shoulders in particular, you know, if you haven't been trained to really focus on building up strength there, then you may not even be aware. But I bet you have an inkling, because I bet that whenever you do exercises that are really intense for shoulders, like push-ups, mountain climbers, burpees, planks, it probably feels really hard. Maybe all of those exercises feel really frustrating to you, and the reason is that you haven't strengthened up your shoulders yet. And you know, when I talk about strengthening them up, I'm not talking about, okay, everybody has to go do Olympic style lifting in order to strengthen their shoulders. I was able to build up my strength and stability in my shoulders just doing PT exercises for them, you know, and physical therapy exercises are not usually loading on, you know, lots of weight. Many of them were body weight exercises, or were, you know, resistance band exercises that are not going to be that much, you know, poundage of force. So there is plenty that we can do to strengthen our shoulders. And once we've done some of that work, then you really do get to come back around to a lot of those exercises and go, holy crap, that feels so much easier than I ever remember it feeling. And it's because the big thing that was standing in your way was shoulder strength and stamina that comes from that strength. And once you've built some of that out, oh man, there is just so much that you're able to do. So, just things to pay attention to. You also will likely notice differences in your existing strength and stamina in your shoulders, because as with everything else, we are not symmetrical creatures. So one of the side plank sides may be way easier for you than the other, or maybe one side is easier on your shoulders but harder to keep your hips in the air, or vice versa. And this is information that is important to pick up about our bodies so that we know how to push ourselves. We know where we need to focus extra attention and energy, and just make sure that we are not setting ourselves up for injury because we're assuming that one side is the same as the other side. Okay? Back to cross jacks. Oh yeah. Woo! I need water. I can tell I'm talking a lot. Okay. Woof. And if I'm feeling this way, then you definitely need some water. So please, I know it's perpetual motion. I know it's a lot more to think about than we normally have to think about, but please, please, please make sure that you're hydrating yourself all the way through, okay? All right. Back to 30 seconds, yeah? Back to 30 seconds and 3 new exercises. Woo! All right, so first exercise is going to be ankle reaches. So legs straight up in the air, feet flat towards the ceiling. If you need to introduce a bend in your knees, that's okay. Just make sure that your knees pull towards your chest and your feet are still pointing straight up at the ceiling rather than bending your feet farther away from you. And then we engage our abdominals to lift our chest and our shoulders. One hand to the outside of the opposite ankle and other side. And just going back and forth. Second exercise is going to be turtle waves. Hey, I talked about those earlier. So wave up onto the feet, plant the hands back into that plank. Wave push up, jump the feet forward, and repeat. Simple, right? And then third exercise is going to be squats with a knee raise. Okay, so feet about shoulder width apart, squatting not that low, just like 45 degrees or so, and then up, down, other side. We just go back and forth. All right, so ankle reaches, turtle waves, and squats with a knee raise. Only 30 seconds. Huzzah, huzzah. So as soon as that horn goes off, we will immediately start doing those ankle reaches. And this is one of our super focused core exercises. So you need to make sure that the reason you are able to lift up and tap the ankle is because of that core engagement and contraction, not because you're pulling up with your arm or pushing up against the ground or anything like that, okay? And when we're doing our turtle waves, again, looking at those shoulders, they have to be strong and stable enough to guide the weight of the body as you jump your legs through the air, okay? So pay attention to that so that you're not letting the momentum of your body pull you off balance, okay? And then our nice squats with the knee raise. Again, similar to the lunge with the knee pull, that core engagement is going to help stabilize the balance and pull the knee up. Woo! How many weeks do you think it's going to take me before I remember to turn on the AC? Because, wow, I still didn't remember it today, and I am feeling it. It is humid. It is humid in here. And this is Colorado. Colorado's never humid, so this is just really disconcerting. At some point, I'm just gonna have to set an alarm for myself that just says, turn the AC on, ya dingus. And honestly, I feel like this isn't the first time I've had that thought. I'm sure it's not the first time I've had that thought. It's just, when you have thoughts in the middle of class, you basically have to assume that they will not still be there by the end of class, because there's just way too many other things that my brain is trying to keep track of right now, and trying to remember to set a very specific alarm is not one of those things. All right, last time through, again, checking in on that form, making sure it is that abdominal engagement and contraction that is lifting your shoulders. I am not using any of the muscles in my arms or in my chest to make that happen. And back to our turtle waves. Whee! Remember to keep those elbows in by the sides, as per usual. Okay? As with every other push-up style that we do, you want them in by the sides. Woo. And last but not least is squats with a knee raise. And you can feel some of the core engagement helping the knee raise as well. It's not all just quads, okay? The lower abdominals are shortening, and that helps to pull the knee up as well. All right, cross jacks. Woo! And water. Cross jacks and water, our favorite Tuesday combo. Okay. Yeah, here we are. So, my friends, we are going to do one more set, and it's going to be one last 45-second work interval set. And then you're going to go back into cross checks just for a second so I can get the timer set up for calf awareness, which is our standard cool down for this class. And I know how much you all love that. But one last perpetual motion set, 45-second work intervals, 3 exercises, and it's going to be toe squats first, so feet about hip width apart, backs as straight up and down as possible, squatting down until I can't go any farther without either bending my torso forward or letting my heels come up, and then I just let my heels come up, all right? And then stand. So that's 1. 2 is gonna be, excuse me, 2 is gonna be skips. So just skipping in place on the mat, one knee comes up, opposite arm comes up, and then you switch. And then burpees. Yeah, burpees is going to be the other exercise. So y'all know how to do those. We do them every class in our warm-up. You just get to shave 45 seconds off of what we usually do them for. So toe squats, skips, and burpees is how we are going to close out. So everybody's doing their cross jacks, and now we are off. And again, oh, that core. Here, let me try and get more centered in the camera so you can really see that core. The core engages before we go anywhere, so that when we get down to the bottom of the position and we're in that balance, our feet and our ankles are not worried about our torso just sort of going off in its own direction and pulling us over. Yeah? So that is hugely important. And then just some nice skips. You know, it's cardio, but it's a relaxed cardio. I'm not asking you to, I mean, you can do them as intensely as you want to, but I like skips for longer work intervals because you really, you get the cardio, but they're not quite as intense as, say, high knee runs, or flaming scarlets, or things like that. So just enjoying our Sound of Music moment, and then into our burpees. Whew. Wow. That was a really sad victory clap. There we go. Yeah. Okay. And same note on jumping back and forward into and out of that plank. Same note on shoulder engagement. Okay? Your shoulders need to be controlling that movement of the body so that they're not getting pulled around all over the place. Okay? Oh, all right, my friends. You're in your second set, which is just so nice. We're at the end of class, which is also just so nice. And, you know, obviously we still have one more thing to do afterwards, but y'all know that calf awareness is many things, but it is not hard on your cardiovascular system. So just one more 1.5, I guess. Yeah, 1.5 more sets here. And then back in those cross jacks for seriously such a short amount of time. If the timer's already set, then it'll literally just be the amount of time it takes me to start that timer. Yeah, so we are getting close to the end, which means that any of those last stores of energy that you have in your system right now, now's the time to use them. Now is the time to say, all right, well, I don't have anything else intense to do in this class. This is the last thing. So I'm gonna really dig deep and I'm gonna find those last pockets of energy, just like if we're running a half marathon and you get to that last 0.1 and you can see the finish line and you dig in and you go, all right, I got a little bit more, and you sprint to the finish line. That is what we are doing now as we head into this last set. We are sprinting to the finish line because we have had a nice, intense class, and now is the time to go, all right, how much of that energy did I save in reserve? Get a sense of where your overall stamina is, yeah? And then just say, okay, well, I did a good job. I saved energy so that I could get through the entire class. And now is the time for me to use it up and go, okay, no need for this anymore. All I need to be able to do is balance once the horn goes off. And that is a lot easier for us to manage. Oh, but yeah, you should be incredibly proud, FYI, always. I think everybody who does this class is so impressive because it is an intense class structure, you know? This is not the type of movement that we usually associate with, all right, I have to keep going this entire time. And the fact that you were able to join me here and get yourself all the way through is so amazing, and you should be incredibly proud of yourselves. And we are almost to the end of the timer, so back into cross jacks just for a second, okay? And as soon as you hear that horn go off again, you will just start balancing on one leg, okay? So flat on the foot. As soon as you hear that horn, there we are. So where we start is by calming our cardiovascular system. Okay? So we start that with slowing our breath. So really try to take deeper breaths, to take them more slowly, and that will key in our heart to go, oh, we're able to take deeper breaths right now, which means that we are not in a position where we need to be pushing oxygen really quickly through our system.
so I can calm down too, and then your heart rate starts calming down as well. And that's one of the big things we train for with high intensity interval training. All right, other side. Once you've done that, then you can focus on the balance itself. And we don't want to be wobbling around, waving our arms or a free leg around. We want to be making any micro adjustments using only the foot and the ankle. So back to those stabilizers, starting with the core, moving into the glutes on the working side, and then the quads, okay? So by the time we get down to the knee, everything above it is one stable piece. And so the ankle doesn't have to worry about a lot of disparate parts moving around. Now when the horn goes off again, we go back to that first side, still balancing on one foot, but this time on the ball of the foot. So this is going to up the challenge rating considerably. And everything I just said still applies. All right, let's make the switch. Everything I said still applies. However, recognizing that this is harder to manage, you will most likely need to come down and reset. The type of floor or surface that you are on right now is going to have an impact. So I'm on these really flexible puzzle pieces, which means that they don't stay put under my weight. They depress and they deform. So it's harder for me to maintain that balance. But even if I feel like I'm going to fall, I don't want to just let myself fall. I want to be in the position. Okay, I can't hold it. Bring that heel down slowly and deliberately. Reset. All right, other side. Reset, and then start again, okay? And that way, you're still getting that awesome work on the calf, okay? You will also probably discover that one side may be better at maintaining the balance than the other. And that's just good information. You may also notice that just because one side is usually better at maintaining the balance, that does not mean that it is today. And that's also okay. Now when the timer goes off again, back to that first foot, and this time it's a moving balance. So we go up on the ball, and then back down onto the heel. And we go back and forth between those two positions. So we go up on the ball, then back on the heel, then up on the ball, then back on the heel. And you can let the butt come behind you when you rock back on the heel. We're not trying to keep our torso really straight up and down, because that's just going to make, that's going to put so much pressure on our shins, and they're already doing enough. And I recommend finding a point either ahead of you on the floor or on the wall in front of you, and just focusing on that point. It needs to be an unmoving point, okay? So not the leaf of a plant that might get wobbly, you know, if your AC kicks in. All right, other side. But like a knot in the wood paneling on the floor, or a thumbtack that you have in the wall. And being able to focus in there just helps to stabilize you and give you something to focus on, so that you're not going to be as likely to fall out of the position. So it's just another thing, in addition to checking in on those stabilizing muscles, that can help us maintain the balance. Last movement is coming up. Both feet on the floor. rocking back on the heels, and don't let those toes come back down to the floor until that final timer goes off. So hold the balance as long as you can. If you need to, you can shift around. Keep your hips in line with each other. So you don't want to be, one hip turned out and one hip going straight forward. Again, headlamps on those pelvic bones should be shining straight ahead of you. Try to maintain that balance as long as you can. Get that core engaged, all right? Obviously, you can sort of let your torso move around if that's gonna help. Really pull those toes up off the ground so that they are not coming down. Really intense on the shins. Less than 10 seconds left. Breathing, keeping that balance as best you can, and then let the feet come down. Oh, wow, good job, everybody. All right, really quickly, just roll over the tops of the feet to get that nice stretch going along the top of the foot and into the shins, because our shins just did a lot of work and they deserve a little help there. And then really quickly, let's do standing quad. So one foot in the same hand, pulling that heel into your butt as close as you can to get that nice calf stretch. Other hand on the wall somewhere to help you maintain balance. And then other side. You can do this as a balanced position, but even if you have the capability, I recommend having a hand on the wall just so that you aren't splitting your focus between the stretch and the balance. And now really quickly, just let's stretch out that calf. Because calf awareness, I don't know if you know this, is really intense on our calves. So it's nice to have a little bit of a calf stretch there, pushing against the wall to help deepen it, push that heel into the ground. Then step forward, and other side. As with everything, you may notice that one side is tighter than the other. Totally normal and natural, just good information for us to learn about ourselves. Oh, all right. Oh my goodness. Friends, what a class. Woof. Everybody, let's take some quiet seconds to just get some water, all right? Oh, and I'll tell you, the longer the class goes on, the more tempted I am to just gulp, gulp, gulp as quickly as I can, which definitely then can lead to coming very close to choking. So I know it's the end of class and I know we're all very thirsty and have worked very hard, but make sure that you are being slow and judicious with your water so that you don't end up choking and coughing it all out. There we go. And oh my goodness, the sky has cleared and it's just beautiful. And these trees in my yard are my favorite things. Absolutely. It is just so relaxing and satisfying to have trees. Wow. And so good to do class with you, my friends. This was absolutely what I needed today. And I feel so much better and I feel much more grounded and I feel more energy, which is really nice. And I hope that class was able to do that for you as well. The energy thing, I recognize right now you may be looking at me going, are you freaking kidding me? But I promise the energy will come. Maybe not immediately after class, but it will come. And that's one of the cool things that we can notice.
the longer that we're doing fitness activities, is noticing how much easier it is for you to recover from a super intensive session like this class, say. You know, that was no joke. And you kept moving the whole time. There's lots of intense exercises. And there will come a time when you finish the last thing, and within a minute, you're like, all right, my heart rate seems to be back down to normal. My breath seems to be pretty normal. And that is such an exciting feeling. And it's one of the coolest things that we can notice about our own improvements. And yeah. So, friends, I'd say that was a good class. And I would definitely say it's time for a post-workout shower. So we've got hopefully 3 more classes this week. Definitely tomorrow, Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. Mountain will be Jump Around, our weekly cardio class. And then the other 2 remaining classes for the week, Functional Home Fitness, where we do weight training using objects you can find around the house, and the weekend kickoff, our awesome strength and stamina focused bodyweight class. I need to confirm the stability of the internet connection where I am going. So it is very likely that Functional Home Fitness either way will be on Thursday this week. And I will confirm that on my social media, and I'll confirm it in class tomorrow. But I think I will probably have to move that to Thursday just because Friday's a travel day. And then I will let you know what ends up happening with the weekend kickoff. So fingers crossed, we're still able to do everything, albeit maybe at slightly altered times. But regardless, I will make sure to have VODs or recorded new class structures up for you to be able to do class. So you're not going to have to miss class, all right? I promise. That's my promise. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All those handles will be in my end cards, but they are all variations on Blanche Case Fitness. My YouTube channel is where I upload all the VODs from these streams, so you never have to miss a class, even if you can't make the live cast. So definitely head over there and subscribe. If you want to help support me financially in making these streams, I have a Ko-fi account for one-time donations, or you can subscribe to this channel if you're able to support a little more long-term. Either way, your donations are always very much appreciated. And if you want to help me keep growing this channel and this community, then please tell your friends, loved ones, coworkers, anyone looking for an awesome fitness class. I stream 4 days a week. We have a great community here, and the more the merrier. So, water, make sure to drink it. Food, make sure to eat it. Post-workout shower, make sure to enjoy it. And I will see all of you back here again tomorrow. Mwah. Have a great night.